Hi, friends. This is very exciting because we have new brush designs from Rephr. And if it's your first time encountering Rephr, they are a fude brand that wishes to make fude, Japanese made brushes, as accessible as possible and as inexpensive as possible. When they first launched their Kickstarter years ago, in exchange for a brush, all you need to do was provide feedback. And the brand itself was stemmed from the community. Rephr truly valued everyone's feedback, from beginner to makeup enthusiast, all the way to the professional, in terms of different ideas to different brush designs. How did this bristle work? How did that bristle length work? The density on this brush. And the brand really came from the makeup community in terms of heavily relying on their input to create these brush designs. And we have 5 new designs coming up, which I am elated to share. These brushes were sent to me a few weeks back and I have been using them non-stop. Of course, we're going to get into the brush details, the demos, and as much insight as I can provide so you can make an informed buying decision. Which will lead me to just go on a slight tangent, if you don't mind. There have been a lot of ideas circulating that Rephr pays us to film these videos. I am an affiliate with Rephr. Anytime you click the link below, and I'll have a link down in the description box for this video, I do get commission on that sale. In no means is this video sponsored or any of my videos speaking about Rephr sponsored. Rephr does not pay for advertising or retail, so they do rely on content creators to share about their brushes, the experience they've had, so on and so forth. So that's why you might see a lot of community posts. Maybe someone will post a video on YouTube, maybe a TikTok, I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, so I have no idea. Whatever the case may be, yes, as a viewer, you might see a lot of Rephr content as we approach, for instance, this new brush launch, as we approach Black Friday, because they do have sales throughout the year. By no means does that indicate that we're getting paid to share. In fact, all Rephr does is send us the details. They're like, hey, we got the sale coming up, or hey, we got this new brush releasing soon. Here are the details. There are no obligations for the creator. We don't have to post anything about it. Heck, we don't have to share about it. I could speak for myself that I value my relationship with the brand, and anytime they share a new brush or a sale event coming up, I'm always happy to share those details with you. And I love to talk about brushes as well. I have a lot of brush content on my channel, and big ups to Michelle Wong, our luxury queen, one of the first content creators to ever buy Rephr or look into it and have interest in it. So she definitely was a catalyst for me to look into the Rephr brand, and when they knew about my channel, they reached out. Ever since then, it's been a fantastic relationship. So when they send me info about new brushes or an event that they're having, I'm always happy to help. Not that you have to believe me, because I know the internet does incite this distrust in people nowadays. Is very fascinating. But for myself, YouTube has contributed to my income. I don't do a lot of sponsored content, and AdSense is just devastatingly unpredictable. So I do rely on my affiliate sales, and when there is a sale coming up or new brushes are releasing, I do like to film videos and speaking about the product. I think perhaps it will make you more comfortable as a viewer to see said product in action, and you feeling more secure in making a buy decision or not. So hope that clarifies some things. If not, you know, what am I gonna do? But let's get into the fun stuff. 5 new brushes from Rephr, and again, as I mentioned before, these designs came from the community's feedback. They're like, hey, we like your foundation brush, but we're really great if you had a concealer one too, or cheek brush that had a round ferrule and more domed top. These details are important, and Rephr does their very best in taking everything into consideration and trying to streamline all these ideas, all this brainstorming to create the one brush that can satisfy as many as possible. I'm gonna go a little out of order here from the numbers, so please forgive me. Everything will be down below. You know, you're like, what is brush 33, 35? Just down below. I have to start with brush 35, the beloved concealer brush that I've been using for months. Rephr had sent me a prototype, and you probably peeped this brush in a few videos. The slanted concealer brush design, one of my most favorites to use. You see it has a pronounced slant where the bristles start very short here at the ferrule and then they grow longer as it comes to the tip of the brush. So there is an apparent angle here. But what I find profound about this brush, and it is made with Psycho goat hair undyed, the softness, the precision, the smooth blend it leaves behind. And although it is tapered, you might think, ooh, stabby. Not stabby at all, let me tell you. It's very soft on the blend. I like to tap concealer here. You see in the demo, I used it to blend out my LYS concealer. I think this was either MG5 or TN3. And the way it pounces concealer under my eyes in the most even fashion. And I have adopted a more conservative approach to concealing, whereas years ago, I would do like the heavy swipe, like the shoosh. Now I like to dot it on. If I want to apply more, I'll apply more. But that initial application, I think appropriate to use 35 with. It is a small brush, so I could imagine that if you wanted to apply more concealer, that you would reach for a bigger brush or maybe just use a makeup sponge. At 35, although a small brush, it is fast with the blend. You pounce it on here under your eyes, and this point that naturally just comes into shape from the taper is great to get right in under your eye, and you can then trail it under your lash line and it still be soft and delicate under your eyes. Fantastic for precision work around your face. If you want to tap a little more coverage around the nostrils, center of the brows, around the jawline here. Great, great, great. And allow me to present a few comparisons here while we're on the 35. I have the Hourglass brush here in the center and the Angie Hot and Flashy BK Beauty collab in A506, which was another favorite because it basically took on the same shape as the 101 contoured foundation brush. Believe it or not, the Rephr is softer than all these brushes. I know. These two are made out of synthetic fibers. The Rephr is made out of natural hair. And what's unique about the Rephr brush, despite the fact that overall the shape is very similar, is that you can see how low the taper starts. Whereas on the BK Beauty brush and on the Hourglass brush, the bristles taper, but they start higher. Let me get a clean brush for you, why don't I? While the Rephr bristles start even lower than that. And you see there's more of a splay here from the BK Beauty brush. The Hourglass brush is a little stiff. I haven't used this one in a long time. I washed it to make sure, you know, it looked good for its camera debut. But the Hourglass feels a little stabby, surprisingly. BK Beauty, a little better, but the Rephr one is the softest, in my opinion. Advantages to using natural hair with cream or liquid products undyed in this case is that you do receive a more natural finish because the natural hairs do take away some of the pigment, whereas synthetic do not because they're not porous, right? So you will be left with more makeup on your skin, and that might work in your favor if you want heavier coverage. Also, synthetic fibers are just more resilient than natural hairs simply because they could be washed more often. Natural hairs are much more delicate. I would still aim for a once a month wash for undyed goat hair. I think that is a reasonable timeline to use when trying to figure out when to wash your brushes. And no, it's helpful to still wipe between uses. Not that you have to use the Cinematic Secret or Parisian Spirit, I forgot what it's called. Just a simple wipe on a microfiber towel brush will release the excess pigment. I'll be fine until you do your monthly wash. Did I say 35? This is 36, my apologies. I have to set this up against Sonia's Jumbo Concealer. The Rephr brush definitely has more of a pronounced slant, whereas the Jumbo Concealer has a more conservative slant, and the bristles don't run as short near the ferrule as the 36 does. They run a little longer here than on the Jumbo Concealer. Both are great. You do have more surface area with the Rephr brush versus the Sonia brush, and the Rephr brush is a little bigger than Jumbo Concealer. Maybe Maybe it's the same head size, but it feels bigger because there's more splay here on contact, whereas there's a little more of a precise pounce, if you will, from the Jumbo Concealer. I love both, but the Fusion series is like unparalleled. But another reason why to consider Rephr in this case is if you're new to Fude and just need to kind of dip your toe in slowly, Rephr is a great place to start. Perhaps more expensive in some eyes to other brands. Within the Fude world, Rephr is fairly inexpensive for the quality you receive. Again, Japanese-made brushes are handmade in Kumano, Japan. There's no laser cutting, everything's hand bundled, so you do receive the same craftsmanship. And although, yes, they're not squirrel hair brushes, the bristles are not dyed, there's no specialization in that way. However, if you wanted to get into Fude and you weren't quite ready to like step into Sonia G, Chikuhodo, or other brands, Koyudo, I would argue also that those brands have inexpensive options as well. But Rephr is a lot more edited. It doesn't feel as overwhelming. So you have an opportunity to just kind of browse, if you will, and try Fude for the first time and have a solid experience. Now I'm going to 35, which I know I should have started with, but I couldn't help myself. 35 is another concealer brush, and compared to 36, we're looking at a more traditional shape, round ferrule, moderately length bristles. I would say perhaps on the shorter end, flat top domed here, great for quick concealing, okay? You have a lot more bristle here in the 35 than you do in the 36, so it might absorb a little more product, and for that reason you can apply a little more product under your eyes. Really nice also if you want precision work on your complexion like I described with the 36, if you want to pounce a little more concealer or foundation on around your jaw, on blemishes, if you want to take it close to the brow, if you want to swipe some concealer through the eyelids, there's a lot of possibilities. But although small, I would argue it's similar-ish to the Chikuhodo contour brush, which means I do also use this with the Hourglass Lighting Edit palette, where I was describing in my September favorites video that smaller precise brushes used with the baked powder formula is great if you want to build intensity while it looking soft at the same time. And despite the brush's density, it has a beautiful glide on the skin. So hold on, let me get it. Allow me to just do a quick demo here, picking up the bronzer color and in a circular fashion, just whipping it here in the hollows of my cheeks. And again, despite the brush's size, it does not move the foundation. It just places the powder right where you want it. If I wanted to use a bigger powder brush, I could, just to kind of smooth out and blur the blend. Look how smooth that is. Now I got a little in that cheekbone. Also, if you're one to rely on concealer for your complexion needs, this is fantastic just to whip concealer on those larger regions of your face. So the major points here under the eyes, down the bridge of the nose. Usually if you start here with your concealing, you'll take it down towards the nostrils. Maybe you whip some concealer around the lips, between the brows, whip it up towards your temples. So this is a great multitasking brush. Yes, limited because of its size, but if you experiment with different formulas, textures, where you apply product on your face, I think you could find a lot of use out of the 35. And presenting now a few comparisons, we have Sonia's soft concealer and her mini base. The 35 is still bigger than the soft concealer, and you can see here it comes to a slightly more point. 35, a flatter dome top, and mini base bigger than 35, but I could imagine if this was a little bigger, it will take on a similar shape as the mini base. So mini base, you know, probably more ideal for all over complexion needs. Some people rather use classic base or just the jumbo base, but I do love 35 again for its just fast nature, especially for the concealing blend. Your under eye skin will not move. It's just very soft. It is on the denser side, absolutely. Still has beautiful flow. You don't have to apply as much pressure on your under eyes when blending out your concealer or whatever you wish to apply there under your eyes. So this is a fantastic brush compared to the 36. It's hard for me to pick my favorite, but I just love 36 again for its shape and its precision in blending out concealer here, and the end result just looking flawless. Ooh, this next brush, number 37, we have our beloved cheek brush, round ferrule medium density brush. Okay, this is my favorite type of brush. I go back and forth between whether I like pinched ferrule more, angled more, slanted, however you describe it. This right here has been my go-to brush using with the Hourglass Lighting Edit palette. It has fantastic pickup, and I use it with the Lighting Edit palette here because I think it appropriate for these baked formulas that are light in application that you can build. Yes, if you use a soft brush, it's hard to build up that color, but with something like Psycho Hogo in this density and brush length, it is optimal. Especially with the bronzer, I can build up incredible color without it looking muddy on my skin. Picking up those blush shades, whooping it on my cheeks. Oh my goodness. Today I actually used it with the NARS cheek palette, which I'll be speaking about soon. That's coming. That's coming. With these gelée baked textures, I think this ideal to pick up those types of formulas. A little, when I say stiff, compared to, let's say, Rephr's number 5, right? You're going to get a lot more movement from the number 5 because there's less bristle here. It's pinched instead of round. You have more taper, so there's more flow there, right? This is a lot more precise. However, what I adore about this brush, despite the medium density, is how beautifully it glides on the skin. It's tough to find a brush that has that thickness, right? But you don't want it to interrupt your foundation blend, your setting, right? You just want that fantastic pickup from the pan. And then you want the color application to be flawless and impactful. And that's what the 35 does compared to the 24. I would say 37 more ideal than the 24. 24 is a great pouncer for me, but because it's so dense, you have to then release a little more pressure so you can get more of a glide here, because if you don't, this might pick up a little more color from your skin, whereas you could apply a little more pressure here with the 37 and not disrupt your foundation blend. So that's the difference for me if you were wondering about the 24 compared to the number 4. Slant design versus round. This is a lot more wispy. Although the density is similar, it's similar. Why I love this brush so much, because it has great pickup and has that precision. Since it is slanted, you can fit it right here into the cheekbones, and that color just finds its way seamlessly in those cheeks. And don't mind me, I'm just gonna take some, what am I doing? Gotta take this brush. If I don't catch myself, man. I've been doing this under the eye cheek application for the last few weeks, and I dig it. So 37 is a winner. I don't know if they're going to sell these separately or in a bundle. And keep in mind that the Black Friday event is coming. So if you want to wait for that and just want to see what the new designs are doing, what your radar is on, then definitely I understand that. Compared to the 30, which released last year, I would say the 37, of course, a lot smaller. And although the 30 is round, this is more for all over powder application, loose or pressed. If you want to do a little bit of finishing here, it's more wispy. It doesn't feel as dense as the 37, right? So different needs. Yes, sure, you could do the bronzing here if you applied it on the edge of the brush. Really big kind of like blush application with this one if you wanted to go there. Now, different from the Surratt blush brush, this is Squirrel Hair Psycho Hogot. You have more of a slight taper, is a smaller brush. I like how this displays, but you still have control. And I also love the Surratt brush for its precision. So it kind of depends on where you want to go. But I, again, have been using 37 nonstop, especially when I bought the Tiger palette and was experimenting with different brushes, seeing what is the best combination to get that pickup from those baked powders that are very lightweight. But if we want to build the color, yeah, we need the right brush for it, and this is one of them. Eyeshadow brush number 33. I have wanted a one and done brush shape from Rephr for some time. I have a fluffy shader video going through my Fude collection, picking out the different fluffy shaders I have. This for me is unique because the taper starts very low. You see the pinched ferrule. it comes to this point, really nice movement, fantastic pickup because of the taper. You see these bristles? That's gonna pick up a lot of color, especially if it's a matte. I actually use this with 2 palettes, the ABH Rose Metals. I picked up Element, which is a softer bronze texture, but still laid down the color beautifully. And because of the brush's fluidity, hey rhymes, it's very soft through the crease. So I didn't feel the need to pick up like 27 or 16 to blend the color through my crease. I just stuck with number 33 because it's just soft when it comes to blurring out the edges. And then I went into Natasha Denona's Dream palette to apply Carpe Diem all over and then Serenity on the lid. Today I applied, Familia? I think it's Familia and the taupe shade. One and done. Great pickup, slapped it on the lid, turned the brush on its side to blend it through my crease, and then you have the brush's edge here to pull color under your lash line in a manner that will still keep it precise, but give you just a little bit of haze. A little bit. This brush will not be ideal for harder to pick up textures, like those foiled, flaky types of textures. I would recommend that you probably use, I think this is the 21. This is more appropriate for like that flaky, hard to pick up texture, or even the number 28. Yeah, so these are your flatter shader precision brushes, and the 33 is more of your all over fluffer lay down type of brush. Dare I say, if you wanted, you could use this brush to tap on loose powder here under the lash line. If you don't like to overwhelm your under eyes with powder, you can even tap a little highlighter here. Why not? If you're not one to wear a ton of highlight and you just need that precise lay down right at the pinpoint of your cheekbone, right? This is gonna do just that. So although an eyeshadow brush, no, it is still a brush, and you don't have to be tied to a certain role when it comes to your makeup application. I would encourage you to experiment as much as possible, see what's best for you, and then stick to that plan. And lastly, we have number 34, Winged Enthusiasts Unite. We got a little itty bitty eyeliner brush that, my goodness, was I surprised when I used this with powders. Let me first show the demo that I used this brush with, the Melt Metal Bond Gel Liner in Colibri, which released with their Butterfly collection. I applied the metallic liner on my lash line, and this makes it hecka easy to do so. But what I was surprised most impressed by, is when I hopped into Natasha's Dream palette again and used this to apply Black is Black. I didn't expect this itty bitty brush to pick up so much product. The way it just adhered to my lash line, and it was one and done. I mean, I was done quickly. Yes, I spent a little while on it because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to shadow liners. Again, impressed by how much powder this little brush picked up, how it was able to deposit that same amount on my skin, and how precise it was in creating that wing point. And I also used this to apply the Danessa Myricks Water Activation colors from her Lightwork 4. That was a good experience too with this little brush. If you're using pigments like that, just make sure to wash this guy, yeah, and let it hang to dry, and make sure you reshape the point so it doesn't get all bent. Compared to Rephr's current liner collection, you know I'm going to show my beloved number 3. We got a few here. So we have the number 3, which I use, extensively. Then we have the number 23, smaller than the 3, and then we have the number 29, which is your flat type shader brush. These are, I think, the established eye precision liner brushes from the Rephr brand. I like actually 29 to stamp instead of wing. You could pull this into a wing because even though the bristles are quite short, they have great flow. great flow. So you don't find that this will skip on your skin, but I like to stamp along the lash line if I wanted to create a little more intensity there. The number 3 is like my go-to smoker shade if I wanted to whip out black coffee, for instance, or just kind of put down a darker shadow along my lash line. If I wanted even more precision, I'll use the number 23 because this has great flow. And if I wanted to create a wing, I could do that with this brush. But yeah, man, if you're into wings, using shadow to do the wings, whatever, stamping shadow on your lash line, 34 for sure is going to give you the most precise application, right? If you wanted that sharp point, and again, it moves really nicely across the skin. It doesn't skip, so you'll have that nice sharp line when applying your eyeliner. And yeah, my eyeliner brush life is complete. For sure. So that is it, fam. The new 5 brushes from Rephr. I hope this helped in now finally speaking about like the concealer brush, for instance, that I had to like hold in about because I didn't want to ruin the surprise. I've been using these brushes extensively. They did not disappoint, and I'm happy that they have become a part of the collection. Let me know what you have your eye on, what your current Rephr favorites are. Thank you always for your support. I do appreciate if you decide to purchase something from Rephr, that you use my affiliate links, that you watch these videos. Even if you choose not to buy anything, you watching is support also. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you, especially because we're heading into the season of buying. Okay, you might see more sale content from me, so just giving you a heads up, and another thank you for still watching, still supporting, and always appreciate that. I'll see you down in the comments, fam, and until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, brush video, or monthly faves. Take care, and I will see you again soon.